Of course, they try to deceive Christians, to cripple people's minds. They try to deprive people of the opportunity to go to Orthodox churches, and in some way they probably manage to deceive their people. But still, faith will find its way over time. Everything will be fine. Now the Ukrainians are already saying, let's say, Russia has all the opportunities not to continue the blows, and so on. Here, everything is very simple. We still want a stable world. And a stable world can come when we ensure our interests, achieve the goals that were set from the very beginning. This can be done literally today, but Zelensky must make the most well-known decisions. And as soon as they are made, then everything will go into peaceful growth. Until Zelensky can gain the courage and take responsibility for this, the special military operation to extend the truce period will continue. These are really a few kilometers. It is clear how many kilometers are left before the administrative borders. I don't know for sure, but roughly speaking, there are 17% of the Donetsk People's Republic, which remains for us to liberate. And this will mean an exit to the administrative borders. This is what Putin was talking about more than a year ago, that Zelensky can issue an order for the armed forces of Ukraine to leave this territory. Then, by the way, it was more than 1%. We are moving forward, and the dynamics are quite obvious. And this would lead to the cessation of hostilities. Negotiations on the Ukrainian track with us are not taking place at all now. No, now this track is on pause. We treat such a load of our American vis-a-vis with understanding. It would be funny if it weren't so sad. Well, imagine, Germany makes a decision to abandon nuclear energy. There is a country across the road, France, where more than 80% of the generation was already provided at that time by nuclear energy. It turns out, if you remember all this, that, well, there are two-timers and fools, in direct words. But this cannot be. Well, you know, I graduated from Moscow State University. I can't imagine Kaja Kallas being a graduate of my alma mater. She would not be able to defend her diploma. We, in principle, publicly proclaim that if the Europeans wanted to, then we are ready. Sure, why not? But if there is gas left from the alternative markets, well, there is a lot of it now, it remains. But the alternative markets are very greedy. There are a lot of applications for supply. They have grown, haven't they? You know, the Europeans are trying to camouflage their short-sighted solutions with some ideological approach. That, so to speak, Russia is a scourge of hell. Russia is a threat to the whole of Europe, and therefore measures must be taken that are aimed at strategic suppression. Not only defeat, but complete suppression of the Russian Federation. These are very noticeable attempts, because how in such a situation Europe can again achieve its competitive advantages in the world markets is difficult to assume. These competitive advantages were built on two things: cheap energy from Russia and free security from the United States. There is neither of the two. America drove them away with free security, refused it itself. They refused us, trying to camouflage this refusal with some ideological, higher considerations. What is best ensured at the time of political aggravation? Mutual dependence in the economy. You can argue as much as you want, disagree, have contradictions. But if you have a mutually beneficial foundation of trade, economic and investment cooperation, it will smooth everything out. Yes, this is the current generation. Well, this simply speaks of the short-sightedness of the current leadership of European countries. Moreover, not everyone has this short-sightedness. There are several leaders, quite a few, who say, "Guys, let's leave all this. It will never happen again. It is our eternal enemy. Let's leave it." In the end, these people say, "We do not care about the Russians, we care about ourselves. And in order for us to live well, we need to buy oil and gas somewhere." In Russia, this exists. Why a priori reject such a partner in trade and economic affairs? An absolutely pragmatic approach, which, by the way, corresponds to our approach. We also, with all due respect, consider the well-being of the Hungarian people, the German people, the French people interesting from a humanitarian point of view, but not as important as the well-being of our own. Indeed, the actions of both Putin and Trump can lead to the fact that in Britain, electricity bills will rise. We need to get used to it. The alliance is very strong. The fact that the changing realities of the modern world will force the alliance to transform is obvious. I do not think that we can talk about the collapse of the alliance, because one way or another, the European component will grow. We see that the European states, seriously frightened by Washington's actions, have already decided to strengthen one of the foundations of the European Union. This is the common policy of defense and security. This foundation will continue to strengthen and develop, and they will do their part to create some kind of their own defense alliance. Will it somehow correspond with NATO? We will see. But there are obviously very difficult processes ahead, which, one way or another, will influence the system of containment and counterbalance in Europe, and these processes will be of vital interest to us. Do we take measures to protect our enterprises? Of course, measures are being taken. They are being improved. Unfortunately, the enemy is quite insidious. Technologies are developing rapidly, and most importantly, the essence of the Kiev regime is being preserved, which poses a direct danger to us. And that is why, having achieved the goals of the special military operation, we will protect ourselves from the continuation of such risks.